Golden illumination spills through antique lace like honey through a sieve, painting shadows that waltz across shutters weathered by countless seasons. Frost traces its delicate calligraphy on aged glass, while somewhere, deep within these provincial chambers, December writes its own poetry. The air itself seems to shimmer with memory, mercury glass multiplying candlelight into constellations, lavender sachets releasing whispers of Provençal summers that refuse to be forgotten. French country Christmas mastery, provincial elegance, and Chateau traditions. You know that feeling when you encounter a space that seems to breathe with its own life, where every surface, every carefully placed object speaks of celebrations that began centuries before you arrived, yet somehow welcome you into their continuing story. That's what we're exploring today, Christmas as it unfolds in those remarkable French country homes where nobility once retreated from court life, seeking something more authentic, more grounded, yet no less refined. Subscribe to Opalux, because you understand that real luxury doesn't shout, it converses quietly with those who know how to listen. For those who find beauty in surfaces kissed by time, who see elegance in the marriage of grand heritage with honest simplicity, we gather these stories. Together, we'll discover why certain spaces feel both majestic and welcoming, why imperfection can achieve a perfection all its own. These French sanctuaries don't just decorate for Christmas. They seem to exhale it naturally, as if the season emerges from the very stones and beams. Handcrafted ornaments bear the thumbprints of artisans long gone. Garlands appear to have wandered in from ancient gardens, and those clouded mercury glass baubles, they remember Chateau celebrations from when candlelight was the only light. Every element carries its own biography, though the stories blend so seamlessly you might not notice where one ends and another begins. The French have this remarkable philosophy, l'art de vivre, that transforms everything it touches. It's not about having more, it's about understanding what you have. Beauty doesn't come from excess, but from knowing exactly what belongs and what doesn't. Warmth radiates not from quantity, but from the conversation between objects, textures, times. You'll notice how every ornament seems to have earned its place. Every garland appears to have grown there naturally. Yet beneath this seeming effortlessness lies something quite deliberate, quite thoughtful. So come with me through these chambers where Christmas doesn't arrive, it emerges. From entrance halls where evergreen branches seem to converse with architectural salvage, to dining salons where heirloom damask and ancestral silver create their own kind of music. Pine boughs heavy with resin, lavender dried from summer harvests, roses that might have been cultivated by someone's great-grandmother, they all compose this atmosphere of quiet magnificence. And there's something happening in these spaces that, once you see it, will change how you think about celebration entirely. Provincial Welcome Hall, French Christmas Sophistication, and Artisanal Details. The entrance hall doesn't just greet you, it draws you into its confidence, sharing secrets about French aristocratic restraint that feel like revelations. Picture an evergreen, noble in its proportions yet unpretentious in its presentation, rising from what might be a wine barrel that's seen 200 harvests. The tree doesn't wear its ornaments so much as host them, each one a small ambassador from different eras, different stories, different Christmases. Those mercury glass ornaments in champagne and silver. They don't just catch light, they seem to hold it, turning it cloudy and soft like breath on a cold window. And when dried citrus wheels, threaded on silk that might have once trimmed a ball gown, release their subtle perfume into the air, something rather magical happens. The fragrance mingles with the pine's resin, creating this invisible architecture of scent that makes people pause without quite knowing why. You'll find lavender bundles nestled among the branches, not placed but discovered there, as if they'd chosen their spots while you weren't looking. They're tied with velvet ribbons that have clearly lived previous lives, perhaps holding back curtains in a chateau bedroom or bundling love letters in someone's escritoire. The tree's crown bears something understated yet noble, maybe a weathered fleur-de-lis or an angel fashioned from lace, so fine it seems made of crystallized breath. Ribbons cascade without calculation, or rather, with the kind of studied carelessness that takes years to perfect. Along the walls, and these walls have their own stories, whether limestone that's absorbed centuries of conversation, or plaster that's developed the most beautiful imperfections, garlands weave themselves into the architecture. Pine boughs embrace juniper and eucalyptus in arrangements that follow some ancient choreography, punctuated by crystal drops that might have fallen from a chandelier during some long-ago celebration. They catch light and throw it back, changed, creating these small moments of unexpected brilliance. And then there's the console, Louis XV perhaps, though its gilt has quieted to whispers over the years. It bears vessels of ironstone and porcelain, each one holding what appears to be a still life that escaped from a painting. White roses at that perfect moment between bud and bloom, winter berries that seem to glow from within, all arranged with that particular French genius for making the artificial appear natural and the natural appear artistic. The floor tells its own story through ancient parquet or stones worn smooth as river rocks by generations of footsteps. Carpets with patterns so subtle you have to look twice to see them provide islands of warmth. Above, lanterns, copper gone green, brass gone deep, transform ordinary light into something almost liquid. The entire space becomes less an entrance than an overture, setting themes you'll see developed throughout the house. And speaking of development, wait until you see how these principles transform in the salon. Salon refinement, French Christmas drawing rooms and cultural gatherings. The salon emerges as the heart of French Christmas sophistication, where furniture of noble lineage creates personal arrangements for seasonal gathering. Bergère chairs and settees, their frames bearing traces of original gilding, wear upholstery of aged velvet and worn damask. Fabrics that speak of Chateau heritage adapted for provincial comfort. Above the mantelpiece, carved during the Directoire period with motifs of laurel and acanthus, seasonal decoration achieves its most refined expression. Garlands of noble pine intertwine with branches of bay laurel, their arrangement following principles of classical symmetry yet softened by natural irregularity. Antique candelabra, their brass surfaces bearing centuries of polish and neglect in equal measure, support tapers of pure beeswax whose honey scent perfumes the air. The Christmas tree in this chamber speaks to personal celebration rather than grand display. Positioned upon a guéridon of inlaid wood, its diminutive scale allows for concentrated beauty. Ornaments here tell stories of French heritage, tiny coq gallois fashioned from aged metal, glass baubles bearing the fleur-de-lis, delicate birds crafted from actual feathers, as was the custom in royal aviaries. Throughout the space, Christmas elements mingle with permanent furnishings in harmonious dialogue. A trumeau mirror, its surface gently foxed with age, multiplies candlelight into infinite reflections. Toile de Jouy pillows receive seasonal companions of burgundy velvet, their deep tones echoing the wines of Bordeaux Chateau. Books bound in aged leather, their spines bearing gilt titles in flowing script, support arrangements of paper whites forced in antique cash pots. The occasional tables, perhaps commissions from the era of Louis Philippe, bear silver plateaux arranged for afternoon chocolate service. Porcelain cups of Sèvres or Limoges, heritage await filling, their delicate patterns of roses and gilt speaking to celebrations where elegance emerged through restraint rather than display. Dining Salon Excellence, French Provincial Christmas Culinary Heritage. The salle à manger transforms into a temple of gastronomic celebration, where Christmas feasting achieves the perfect marriage of chateau formality and provincial warmth. The table, a magnificent piece from the Restoration era, its mahogany surface bearing the patina of countless celebrations, requires no concealment beneath common cloth. Instead, runners of antique damask, their patterns woven in Lyon workshops during the Second Empire, create rivers of texture along the wood's polished surface. Place settings orchestrate a symphony of French porcelain heritage, perhaps Vieux Paris pieces with hand-painted scenes, or Limoges services bearing family crests, their gilt edges worn thin through generations of use. Crystal stemware of Baccarat or Saint Louis provenance catches candlelight from silver candelabra whose rococo curves speak of Ancien Régime grandeur. Between these vertical elements, arrangements maintain horizontal grace, roses of palest pink mingling with branches of juniper, their compositions echoing the restraint of French formal gardens, yet allowing for natural movement. The flatware, a mixture of family silver bearing different monograms and patterns, tells stories of marriages, inheritances, and careful accumulation. Each piece bears the weight of history, from berry spoons with pierced bowls to sauce ladles whose handles display the silversmith's art in miniature. Napkins of finest linen, perhaps bearing embroidered coronets or elaborate monograms from noble houses, are folded into elegant geometries and adorned with small bouquets of seasonal greenery secured with silk cording. Place cards, written in flowing copperplate upon paper embedded with pressed violets, speak to an era when correspondence was an art form. The buffet à deux corps, a masterpiece of provincial cabinet making, displays the feast upon platters of aged faience and ironstone. Traditional Christmas offerings appear in refined presentation. Terrines decorated with bay leaves, capons adorned with winter herbs, vegetables glazed to jewel-like perfection. The cheese course, presented upon marble salvaged from Chateau renovations, includes selections that speak to France's regional diversity. Table art, perfection, French Christmas styling, and sophisticated details. The artistry of French table arrangement reaches its zenith in the marriage of noble heritage with provincial charm, where each place setting becomes a small canvas for displaying the philosophy of refined accumulation. Plates of varying provenance, some bearing the marks of royal manufactories, others the honest craftsmanship of regional potters, create harmonious discord through shared sensibility rather than matching patterns. Glassware continues this narrative of elegant variety. Goblets of pressed glass bearing the geometric patterns of the Art Nouveau period stand beside crystal coupes whose etched surfaces catch light like morning frost. Wine glasses, their bowls bearing different shapes according to their original purposes, speak to an era when each beverage demanded its proper vessel. Small silver or vermeil accessories punctuate each setting with points of reflected light. Salt cellars of empire design, their classical forms softened by generations of use, accompany pepper mills whose mechanisms speak of 19th century ingenuity. Knife rests of crystal or silver elevate cutlery above the table's surface, creating small architectural moments within the larger composition. The centerpiece abandons rigid formality for orchestrated naturalism. Antique wooden trugs or weathered zinc containers overflow with arrangements that seem gathered rather than arranged. White roses at various stages of bloom, branches of pine still glistening with resin, dried hydrangeas whose papery petals whisper with movement. Mercury glass votives, their surfaces intentionally distressed, create pools of dancing light between these natural elements. Seasonal fruits, pears with leaves still attached, apples bearing natural bloom, quinces with their distinctive perfume, scatter across the table's length, their placement appearing casual yet achieving perfect balance. Walnuts in silver dishes, candied chestnuts in crystal compotes, and dried fruits arranged on plates of quimper faience add layers of texture and possibility. Christmas crackers, if present, abandon commercial garishness for handcrafted elegance, perhaps wrapped in pages from antique French texts, secured with wax seals bearing family crests, containing small treasures like mother-of-pearl buttons or miniature books of French poetry. private sanctuary quarters, French Christmas embrace, and personal traditions. Ascending the escalier, whether grand staircase or narrow spiral, one enters the realm where French Christmas assumes its most personal character. The chambers above embrace decoration with the restraint of those who understand that true luxury whispers rather than proclaims, that elegance emerges through carefully chosen details rather than abundance. The principal chamber maintains its dignity while acknowledging the season through subtle gestures. The lit à la polonaise or simple lit bateau, dressed in linens bearing the weight of countless launderings until they achieve the softness of clouds, receives seasonal acknowledgement through small wreaths of bay and rosemary suspended from its posts with ribbons of aged silk. Nightstands of different periods, perhaps one from the Directoire, another from Charles X, bear brass bourgeois, whose candles cast dancing shadows upon walls covered in toil or aged paper. Small arrangements of Christmas roses in medicine bottles of colored glass add touches of seasonal beauty without overwhelming the chamber's essential tranquility. A prie-dieu converted to display receives special Christmas treasures, a collection of santons arranged in tableaux, their painted faces bearing the folk art charm of Provence. Near Bacchus, wrapped packages covered in brown paper and secured with wax seals await their moment of revelation, their presentation as important as their contents. The children's chambers embrace whimsy within the framework of French elegance. Stockings fashioned from toile de Jouy or aged ticking hang from carved wooden pegs. Small trees decorated with paper ornaments cut from pages of French fairy tales stand upon painted commodes. Toys of earlier eras, wooden horses with real hair manes, porcelain dolls in faded silk, lead soldiers in Napoleonic uniform, arrange themselves among greenery as if staging their own Christmas tableau. The armoire, that essential element of French domestic architecture, reveals seasonal treasures when opened, a sharps of finest wool for winter promenades, books of Christmas stories with marbled end papers, boxes of ornaments wrapped in tissue and lavender, waiting for small hands to discover their magic. Chateau ground splendor, French winter gardens, and landscape artistry. The formal garden, stripped to its architectural bones by winter's hand, becomes a stage for Christmas celebration that honors both nature's dormancy and the season's joy. Parterres outlined in ancient boxwood receive dustings of snow that emphasize their geometric precision, while alleys of pleached trees create Gothic corridors leading toward the illuminated dwelling. The approach creates a processional route where Christmas decoration emerges from the landscape itself. Antique garden urns, their surfaces bearing the patina of countless seasons, overflow with arrangements of pine, holly, and winter berries. Lanterns, perhaps requisitioned from old carriages, line gravel paths, their panes of wavy glass multiplying candlelight into constellation patterns. The potager, dormant beneath winter's mantle, transforms through strategic decoration. Tuiles and trellises, wrapped in simple garlands, create vertical interest against the horizontal plane of sleeping beds. Cloches, protecting winter vegetables, become miniature crystal palaces when frost etches their surfaces, requiring no decoration beyond nature's own artistry. Against walls of weathered stone, espaliered pears and apples wear decorations that honor their productive dignity. Small ornaments of blown glass shaped like fruit. Stars woven from pruned branches. Ribbons of burlap that will remain to support heavy branches come summer's abundance. The orangery, if present, becomes a winter paradise where Christmas mingles with Mediterranean dreams. Citrus trees in Andus put perfume the air, while their branches bear small ornaments that echo their golden fruit. Here, Christmas achieves a different character, lighter, more reminiscent of southern celebrations where winter never fully arrives. Garden structures, the pavilion, the folly, the grotto, receive their own Christmas transformations. Wreaths of noble proportion hang from weathered doors, their greenery studded with seed heads and rose hips that will feed birds throughout winter. These decorations exist in harmony with nature's own ornamentations, the architectural tracery of bare branches, the sculptural beauty of seed heads wearing caps of snow. French Christmas sophistication, provincial mastery, and enduring elegance. As we close the shutters upon this journey through French provincial Christmas, we carry forward more than mere images of mercury glass catching candlelight or damask runners gracing ancient tables. We have witnessed the alchemy whereby heritage transforms into living tradition, where Chateau grandeur softens into provincial warmth, where every carefully chosen element speaks to centuries of refined celebration. This heritage French country Christmas has revealed that true seasonal elegance emerges not from abundance, but from curation, from understanding that each ornament, each garland, each carefully placed candle contributes to a greater narrative of continuity and grace. The chipped gilt of a Louis XV mirror holds more beauty than perfect modern reproductions. The worn monogram on inherited linen tells stories that new embroidery cannot capture. What renders French provincial Christmas eternal is its dialogue between noble heritage and pastoral authenticity. Decorations emerge from both chateau and garden, silver candelabra standing beside branches cut from ancient trees, Sèvres porcelain sharing tables with honest ironstone, silk ribbons mingling with simple twine. Each element connects us to the continuum of French celebration, where refinement never sacrifices warmth. The philosophy of parfaitement, imparfait, transforms the season from performance into poetry. By embracing the beauty of patina and age, by choosing elements that improve rather than deteriorate with time, by allowing imperfection to become its own perfection, we create celebrations that nourish both aesthetic sensibility and emotional memory. Most profoundly, French provincial Christmas reminds us that elegance emerges through restraint, that sophistication speaks in whispers rather than shouts. The most beautiful chambers are those where time has been allowed to work its magic, where families have gathered through generations, where traditions evolve while maintaining their essential dignity. As you return to your own seasonal preparations, remember that Chateau grandeur exists not in scale but in sensibility. Begin with elements that bear authentic patina. Embrace the poetry of imperfection. Choose heritage over novelty when possible. Allow your decorations to accumulate meaning through years of careful use. For ultimately, French country Christmas resides not in perfection, but in creating spaces where memory and beauty intertwine, where celebration achieves its highest expression through the marriage of elegance and authenticity, where every December adds another layer to an ever-deepening patina of joy.